Hi everyone, so this is a lesson on changing the subject of an equation or rearranging formulae that requires 2 steps to rearrange. So we're going to do these 6 examples which you should copy down and then you can practice some by yourself. So we're going to do the 6 examples first, and in these first examples we want to make y the subject. So in this first one I can see that y is here. Now in this equation y is being multiplied by 3 and then z is being subtracted from all of that, and this is all equal to 5. So I slowly want to undo all of what's being done to y, so that I can make y the subject and I have y by itself. Now, when we start to undo all of the things that are being done to y, one way to think about this is to think in a reverse order of BIDMAS. So if we think about y is being multiplied by 3 and then subtract z, because in BIDMAS we would multiply before we would subtract. Now to start to undo all of this we're going to work backwards, so we would actually sort out this subtraction first and then sort out the multiplication. So that's what we're going to do. So the first step to rearrange this equation is I'm going to add the z to both sides of the equation. And that will give me on this side, well, negative z and positive z are the inverse of each other, they cancel out. So I'm just left with the 3y. And on this side of the equation, I've got 5 plus z. Next, I'm going to sort out or to undo this multiply by 3, and the way to do that is to do the inverse. So we would divide both sides by 3. And on the left hand side, well, I have 3 over 3 and they are going to cancel to give me just y, which is good because I want to make y the subject. And then over here I had 5 add z all over 3. And that is the answer because I have made y the subject. So in the next example, similar, I want to make y the subject and y is sitting over here. And this time y is being multiplied by 3x and then z is being subtracted from that. This is all equal to 5. So we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to work in the reverse order of BIDMAS in order to slowly get the y by itself. So instead of thinking about the multiplication first, as you would in BIDMAS, we would think about sorting out the subtraction first. So to undo subtract z, same as before, we're going to add the z to both sides. And on my my left hand side, my negative z, positive z will cancel, so I'll have 3xy. And then I'm going to have 5 add z on the right hand side. And then similar to before, I want to get the y by itself, and at the moment it's being multiplied by 3x. So to undo that, I'm going to divide by 3x on both sides. And that means the divide by 3x and the multiply by 3x cancel, and I will get y equals 5 add z all over 3x. And I've made y the subject, which means I'm finished. The next example. This time, y is being multiplied by 3 and z is being added to it. So this is really similar to our first one. Our first one was 3y take away z equals 5, and this is 3y add z. So to undo this plus z part, I need to do the inverse, the opposite of plus z, which is minus z. And remember the same thing, both sides of the equation, always. So positive z, negative z cancel each other out and leave me with 3y. And over on the right hand side, I'm going to have 5 subtract z. And then exactly the same steps as before. To get the y by itself, I have to undo the multiply by 3 by dividing by 3 on both sides of the equation. And then the 3's will cancel and I'll get y equals 5 subtract z all over 3. And the next 3 examples. Over here I have 3y plus z equals 5z. So actually the left hand side of this equation is exactly the same as the left hand side of this equation, which means we're going to follow the same steps to get the y by itself, to make y the subject. So the first step I will do is I will subtract z from both sides. So on the left hand side this leaves me with 3y. And on the right hand side I have 5z take away z. Now 5z take away z can actually be simplified or written as just 4z. So that's why this one differs to the previous one. Now to get the y by itself, our next step is to divide by 3 on both sides of the equation. And that leaves me with y equals 4z over 3. Remember those 3's will cancel out on the left hand side. Next example, I have z plus 3y equals 5. So y is being multiplied by 3. If I'm following BIDMAS, my multiplication comes first, and then this is all being added to z. So I'm going to follow this. I'm going to follow the reverse of BIDMAS. I'm going to sort out the addition of z first, and then I will sort out the multiplication. So this z over here is positive, isn't it? My 3y, my positive 3y is here, that term, but the z is positive. So that means I'm going to subtract z from both sides, and that leaves me with 3y equals 5 subtract z. The 3y is positive still, but I don't really need to put this positive symbol here. And then to get the y by itself, this is similar to all the others, I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. That means that I have eliminated the multiply by 3, and I've got y equals 5 take away z all over 3. And that is actually exactly the same as another answer in these examples, which is an interesting result. Different questions can give you the same result. And the last one, we have 3y plus z is equal to 5 plus 7w. So again, the y, which I want to make the subject, is being multiplied by 3, and then z is being added to it. So I'm going to sort out this add z first, and to eliminate plus z, add z, we subtract z, and we must do it to both sides of the equation. So that leaves us with 3y on the left hand side, because our plus z and minus z cancel. And then over here, well, I've got 5 plus 7w take away z. Well, there's no collecting I can do there, there's no simplifying, so that's literally what I just need to write. 5 plus 7w take away z. Then to get the y by itself, I need to divide by 3 on both sides. So I'm going to get y on its own, because my multiply by 3 and divide by 3 will cancel. And then I will have 5 plus 7w take away z all over 3 as my answer. So now we've done our 6 examples, you're going to have a go at some by yourself. So if you pause the video on these 6 questions and have a go at them in your book by yourself. Okay, so we'll start to go through the answers now, so make sure you're going to mark these in a different coloured pen and make any corrections in your different colour pen as well. So in this first question, we want to make, well, in all of these we want to make t the subject. So in the first example, we need to eliminate this plus r first. So we're going to take away r from both sides, and then we're going to divide both sides by 2 to get t equals 4 subtract r, all divided by 2. Next one, we have 4t plus r equals 4. So very, very similar. Our first step is the same. We're going to subtract r from both sides, and then instead of dividing by 2 on both sides, we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. So we have t equals 4 subtract r all over 4. In the next question, we have a very similar question. So 2at plus r equals 4. So again, the first step in this question is exactly the same as the previous two. We're going to subtract r from both sides, and this time though we will divide by 2a. So our answer is t equals 4 subtract r, all divided by 2a. Next one, we have 2at subtract r equals 4. Very similar to the previous one, very, very similar. Our first step is not going to be to take away r from both sides though, because we actually need to do the inverse of the take away r. We need to add r to both sides. We will then divide both sides by 2a to get 4 plus t equals 4 plus r, all divided by 2a. In the next question, we still have a positive r here, with 3at being added to that. So we're going to eliminate that r from both sides by taking it away from both sides, and then we'll divide both sides by 3a in order to get the t by itself, to get t equals 4 subtract r, all over 3a. And in the last one, we're going to subtract r from both sides, but we actually can simplify the right hand side in this one to get it should be 4at there. Perhaps I can change that now. Okay, I just went back and changed it. So we have 4at equals 3r, because when we take away r from both sides, 4r subtract r is 3r. And then we're going to divide both sides by 4a to get t equals 3r, all over 4a. Okay, we're going to do 6 more examples, and these examples, you can see they have fractions in, they involve divisions. So we need to copy these 6 examples in our book. So I'll go over to the visualizer. So here are our next 6 examples, and in these examples we want to make y the subject of each equation. So in this first equation I can see that y is over here. Now y is being divided by 3. It's being divided by 3, and then z is being subtracted from that. And in order to make y the subject of the equation, I am going to do the inverse of divide by 3 and subtract x. So I'm going to do the inverse of those two things, but I need to follow this in like a reverse order of Vidmath, same as what we were doing before. So I'm going to sort out, or I'm going to eliminate this subtract x first, and I will then sort out or eliminate this divide by 3. So my first step is going to be to add x to both sides. So on my left hand side, my subtract x and add x will cancel each other out and leave me with just y over 3. And on the right hand side I've got 0 add x, which is just x. And then I need to eliminate this divide by 3, and the inverse, or the opposite of dividing by 3, is to multiply by 3. So I'm going to do that on both sides. I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. So that means my multiply by 3 and divide by 3 cancel to give me y. And then x multiplied by 3 needs to be written as 3x. So my answer is y equals 3x to this question. In the next one, very, very similar. I have y over 3 subtract x, the same as before, but this time it's equal to 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is eliminate this subtract x term by adding x to both sides. And that's going to leave me with, on the left-hand side, my subtract x and add x cancel and give me y over 3. And on the right-hand side, 4 plus x cannot be simplified any further, so it's just 4 plus x. Then I need to eliminate the divide by 3. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. Now, the left-hand side is nice and simple. I'll multiply by 3 and divide by 3 cancel to give us y. The right-hand side, though, we need to be very careful because we cannot just write this. I'm actually going to tip x this out because it's wrong, but I just wanted to show you that this is not the correct thing to do. And the reason for that is because when we multiply both sides by 3, we need to multiply everything on that side by 3. And if I wrote out, well, maybe I'll write it again. If I write this out, in this expression here, I'm only multiplying the x by 3. But I need to multiply all of 4 plus x by 3. So this is where I need to use brackets. And we've used these before in rearranging. We need to multiply all of this by 3. So my answer is going to be all of 4 plus x multiplied by 3. And that is the answer. Y equals 3 times 4 plus x. And you can multiply out the brackets if you want to get 12 plus 3x. Y equals 12 plus 3x. But I'm not going to do that. So, next one. Very similar. I've got y over 3w, take away x equals 4. So a very similar question. We're going to eliminate this plus, this subtract x first by adding x to both sides. And that's going to leave me with y over 3w equals 4, add x. And then to eliminate divide by 3w, I need to multiply both sides by 3w. But remember, we need to multiply everything by 3w. So on my left-hand side, my multiply by 3w, divide by 3w cancel. But on the right-hand side, everything on that side, all of the 4 plus x, needs to be multiplied by 3w. So I need to use brackets to help me there. So that is my answer. Y equals 3w multiplied by 4 plus x. There we go. And the next three. So here we have y over 3 plus x equals 4. Now this is very, very similar to the first example where we had y over 3 take away x. Or even actually number 2, y over 3 take away x equals 4. Now we have y over 3 plus x equals 4. So in this one we added x to both sides first because that helped us to eliminate the take away x. But this time we're trying to eliminate plus x or add x. So we're actually going to subtract x both sides, because to eliminate plus x we must subtract x from both sides. So when we do that, we get y over 3 equals 4 take away x. And then to eliminate divide by 3, we will multiply by 3 on both sides. But remember, everything needs to be multiplied by 3 on the right hand side. So the left hand side, I'll multiply by 3, divide by 3, cancel to give us y equals, and then on the right hand side we're going to have 3 multiplied by 4 take away x. Okay. Okay, so the next example we have y over 3 plus x, which is the same as this question, but this time it's equal to 4x. But because the left-hand side of both of these are the same, we're actually going to follow the same steps. we're going to eliminate the plus x first by taking away x on both sides. And that gives us y over 3 on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we have 4x, take away x, which actually is 3x. And then to eliminate divide by 3, we're going to multiply by 3 both sides. So on the left-hand side, multiply by 3 and divide by 3 cancel to give us just y. And then on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, 3x multiplied by 3 is 9x. So we have made y the subject, y equals 9x. And our last question is we have y over 3 plus 9 equals x. So you might already know what our first step is going to be. We're going to eliminate this plus 9 by subtracting 9 from both sides. So that's going to give us y over 3 equals x take away 9. And then to eliminate divide by 3, we're going to multiply by 3 on both sides. But remember, everything on the right hand side needs to be times by 3. So we're going to get cancelling there to give us just y. And then on the right hand side, all of the x plus 9. Sorry, all of the x take away 9 is being multiplied by 3. So we get y equals 3 times x plus 9. And you can multiply out the brackets there if you wanted to, but leaving it like that is fine. So those 6 examples involve a division in them, and we've just looked at how to solve them. So we're now going to do some practice questions. So here are 6 practice questions for you to have a go at. So pause the video now and have a go at these. Okay, so we're going to quickly go through the answers to these questions, so make sure you're marking your work in a different colour to what you wrote in. So in our first one, or all of these want to make y the subject, so we are going to subtract 4 from both sides to get y over z equals negative 4. And then we're going to multiply both sides by z to give us y equals negative 4z. Next, we're going to add 2 to both sides in our next one to give us y over z squared equals 6. And then we're going to multiply both sides by z squared to give us y equals 6z squared. Next, we are going to subtract the 5 from both sides to give us z subtract 5 equals y over 2x. And then we need to multiply both sides by 2x, but remember the whole of the right-hand side, left-hand side needs to be multiplied by 2x, so we will use brackets here to give us 2x all times by z minus 5 equals y. In the next example, we are going to start by subtracting 2 from both sides to give us y over z equals 2, and then we will multiply by z on both sides to give us y equals 2z. Next, we are going to subtract z from both sides to give us y over 2 equals 4 take away z, and then we need to multiply both sides by 2, but remembering this is one where we need to use brackets because all of the 4 take away z needs to be multiplied by 2. So we get y equals 2 times 4 take away z. And the last one, we are going to subtract this 5 off from both sides to give us z subtract 5 equals y over 3. And then we need to multiply both sides by 3, but again, another one about that we need to use brackets for because everything on this side needs to be times by 3. So we have 3 times z minus 5 equals y. So that is your examples and practice questions done, and you're going to do some independent practice now, which is section G of the worksheet.